Okay, Silvia, it's a real pleasure to be sitting down with you today as category manager for savoury ingredients at LALLEMAND. You've been right in the middle of some fascinating developments in yeast-based proteins. I'd love to start by hearing a bit about your journey. How did you first get involved with savoury ingredients at LALLEMAND, and what drew you to this area of food innovation?
So I've started in Lallemandt Bio-Ingredients Savory in 2017 as a product and marketing manager, and the position has developed till this year, where I started to be category manager, which means still to have like a good understanding of our product portfolio. I am still responsible for our marketing activities, but there is one point plus that is strategy, which is very important for our business. I come from an history of sales of food ingredients from a local environment. I'm still based in Italy to a more European and now global scope.
Now, that sets the scene very nicely. For those who may not be familiar with Lallemand's work, could you give us a quick elevator pitch? What's the bigger mission behind the savoury ingredients division?
So I think we should frame savory ingredients in the wider scope of who is L'Allemand. L'Allemand is a privately owned Canadian company. We have a huge focus on fermentation, on yeast and bacteria. L'Allemand Bioingredients is one of the business units of L'Allemand. And still we focus on fermentation. We have a clear interaction, and we aim to develop together with our customers in the food, flavor, health ingredients area. We are growing our business into new areas, into specifically enzymes or aroma ingredients, which are the latest acquisition. But it's everything around fermented ingredients and yeast in particular.
Well, there's a lot of buzz in recent years about yeast-based proteins. I think a lot of people know the name, and I'm going to try and pronounce it properly. Saccharomyces cerevisiae, but that might not be right. But not many people appreciate how versatile it is. Can you walk us through what makes it such a valuable base for protein innovation?
Yeah, I would say I would start from this. Like Saccharomyces cerevisiae is one of the most known ingredients in the history of the culinary art or the food area. Before being an industry, being artisanal, everybody know about yeast from bread, wine, beer production. Yeast is very much involved in different food and drinks category. Saccharomyces cerevisiae is just one of the edible yeast that are currently used by the industry, but for sure a very interesting one. Yeast by itself is a single cell organism. It's a kind of mini firm that can produce very much different components. Yeast is very rich in protein naturally. It's rich in vitamins and minerals, and of course, when active, can build food and drinks by fermentation. Also, the inactive yeast keeps this interesting composition, and by, let's say, concentrating and separating yeast protein, we have now a very valuable source, which is very known by the consumer. This is for sure a huge plus, but also not so explored. Going forward, we expect to get more from yeast protein. One very interesting point is that yeast protein can be nutritional and can be functional. It depends on the way the process is conducted and the protein are produced,
Well, that's
which
this turns
makes
to
a
the start.
big.
Makes
Oh,
it a good.
sorry, I overlapped.
That's great. I was going to say, let's turn to the star of the show now. That's Engevita High Pro Beyond. That's the product that you're turning that yeast into. One of the things that really caught my attention is that it's described as a non-functional protein. It boosts nutritional value without altering taste or texture. Why is that such a big deal for formulators, especially in savory applications?
So we have several protein now available in the market, and I would say that the yeast protein are still a niche. If we look at the large volumes of dairy protein, animal source protein, and as well as alternative protein, we have the key products like soy, pea, and wheat gluten. The fact of being like for Engevita Pro Beyond, a protein that is mainly nutritional can support the development of different type of food matrices without interfering with the rheology of the product. Like nowadays, when we fine tune a matrix, a product, we would like it to be repeatable, and the food developers would like to make sure that everything they include in a complex matrix would give a certain result. By using a product that is mainly nutritional, we don't interfere with the hydrocolloid or other stabilizing systems. And in this way, our yeast protein stands out of other protein sources.
Clean taste, that seems to be a real differentiator. I mean, you mentioned pea and soy. They often come with sometimes bitterness or beany notes, but Hypro Beyond avoids those issues. What's happening on a sensory level that allows it to deliver such a neutral profile?
So we have a patent pending for this production, but I have to say, like, yeast in general is already pretty neutral. We have gone really beyond with the results obtained with Engevita Pro Beyond. Being so neutral allows to be allows our iProbeyond to be included in different type of application, from sweet to savory. And sweet, it's an area that is pretty new for us, but giving us very nice results in high protein drink shots, as an example, in snacks bars, and other type of sweet application. Also, we have an interest now, quite racing and new, in hybrid dairy products. So it kind of bridge from dairy product to alternative. There is now an increased interest for the hybrid that would guarantee better taste, and for sure, Ingevita Pro Beyond help in this kind of developments.
Mhm. I was particularly fascinated by a cheese analog example. It was a vegan parmesan, I think. That feels like a great case study where flavor and function overlap. Are you able to take us inside the development process there? Were there any technical hurdles that you had to overcome?
Yeah, we have a quite skilled team of applied R&D specialists. And when we developed the vegan parmesan, in this sense, we were in the alternative to dairy products, so it's not an hybrid. But when we think about alternative cheeses, like the first generation of product is well known for being rich in starch and other stabilizers, and poor in protein in a way. So the next step for the industry is to have products that are also nutritionally interesting. The problem of several protein sources is that they interfere with the starch system, which is still the base for those ingredients, while we don't have the same with Engevita Pro Beyond. The formulators can really play with their stabilizing system on its own and include iProbeyond for nutritional purposes. And one of the subjects that was particularly difficult for our applied R&D was to replicate the kind of firm, granular texture of the Parmesan-like cheese. But this was really well achieved with a separate stabilizing system. But as I said, the Engevita Pro Beyond didn't interfere. We didn't find gaps or missings from what we understood the stabilizing system was going to deliver.
Hmm. I know in our preparation calls, you mentioned Hypro performs well under UHT and avoids unwanted Maillard reactions. What does that mean in practice on the factory floor, the production floor?
This is very important because we have a very nice wettability since the beginning. So if we add water in the system, Engevita Pro Beyond disperse really rapidly, so we don't have lumps. issues, but also it's very stable at different pH levels, and it's very stable under let's say difficult treatment like the UHT1 could be. So this is why I mentioned in our preparation call, we had very good results in protein shots ready to drink. This is an area that we are developing pretty fast with our customers, which give us very good feedback from the very beginning. So it's very easy to apply. So what does it mean for the industry? For sure, to avoid a lot of issues in production, clogging systems, or lamps that can delay the production, and then also a launch acceptability at floor level in this industry. Like, it doesn't create more issues than the let's say a solution that it brings.
And from a nutrition science perspective, one feature that really stands out is the complete amino acid profile, including branch chain amino acids. Why is that important compared to other protein sources?
So we have certain amino acids can be produced by our body, taking the building blocks from what we eat. And those essential amino acids are the ones that we cannot produce ourselves. So they should be included by our diet. And sometimes when we go in restrictive type of diets, some amino acids can be lacking, or let's say the ratio between one and the other, or the branched amino acids that are relevant for maintaining the muscle mass or to repair our body are quite lacking. This is important, together with the factor that the digestibility of Engevita Probeyond, and in general, I have to say, of yeast protein is high, is 1, which is the maximum rate we can get when we look at digestibility of protein. So it's higher than other type of alternative protein. This is important to say.
Yeah, that's the PD-CAS score. Let's
Yeah.
touch on something that often trips people up: protein labeling. There's a lot of confusion about how protein content is calculated, and not all sources are obviously measured equally. How do you ensure accuracy when it comes to high pro beyond?
So it's inherent to the quality of the protein, I would say. Generally speaking, the industry has taken the Kildal measure as standard, and those come with a coefficient that is widely used, the 6.25, to transform from the nitrogen available to the actual protein level content. For yeast protein and Engevita Probeyond, this is very close to 6.25, while we have other alternative protein where this coefficient is in reality lower. But because of the standardization we have had with the Kildan and 6.25, we are overestimating the protein content of certain sources. This is not the case for Hyperbeyond. I think like we are at 6.24 versus 6.25, so it's pretty close to the Kildal coefficient standard.
Another common criticism of plant proteins is the presence of anti-nutritional factors like phytic acid or lectins. What makes yeast-based protein cleaner or more digestible in that context?
So it's the fact that by nature, yeast doesn't contain those anti-nutritional factors. So it's the source itself that is better as a source of protein.
And finally, when we're talking about the products, we'll talk about safety. Crop-based proteins can be vulnerable to contaminants, whereas bioreactor production offers much more control. Are you able to elaborate on how that translates into food safety advantages?
Yeah, of course. When we speak about agricultural products and produce, we can always have risks of contamination by toxins, by microorganisms, by other factors like heavy metals, as an example, that can come from the soil. Producing yeast protein means producing yeast, first of all, like premium yeast, in a fermenter, which is highly controlled. We control every input in the system, the quality of water, of course, but also the pH and so forth. So the environment is controlled, we have a safe output, and we also can control differently from agricultural produce the level of protein to be stable year on year or undepending of seasonality.
Now, beyond the technical story, there's also a sustainability angle. Yeast protein seems to tick a lot of boxes: low land use, circular economy, substrates, minimal environmental impact, for instance. How are customers responding to those benefits?
There is an increased interest, and even if sustainability is not at the moment yet clearly a label, we work with um, partners that are globally present, and one of the decision-making box to tick when they introduce a new ingredient is to make sure sustainability is there. As you mentioned clearly, we are working in an environment which is fully under control, and we have a product that doesn't require a lot of land. Like we grow yeast in closed fermenters. The water intake is controlled. We are moving more and more into our facility into the use of green energy. So this is very important. We are working as well specifically for Engevita Beyond to release the life cycle assessment for the single ingredient, while we have those information, generally speaking, for inactive yeast and yeast extracts.
Mhm. We're also seeing a shift where it's not just being about an alternative protein, but being a superior one in terms of functionality and sustainability. Where do you see High Pro Beyond fitting into the competitive landscape over the next, I don't know, 3 to 5 years or so?
Yeah, I think his protein and Gevita Beyond are responding to a lot of the demands that we see in the market. For sure, the need to differentiate more. The protein environment nowadays is growing. We have a demand for more protein to be available, to be more sustainable. And even though at the moment the yeast protein, if we look at the volumes of WPC or other alternative protein that I've mentioned before, the soy, the pea, the wheat, gluten, yeast protein is still smaller, but the adoption rate is pretty quick. We have very good response from our customers. It answers to different questions like the nutritional profile is very high, it is sustainable, it can be included in different type of applications. So it's really helping food processors to move forward in answering the consumer demand for balanced protein, sustainable nutrition.
Mhm. I was interested to see High Pro Beyond being positioned as suitable for both sweet and savoury applications. That's not too common in the protein world. Have you seen any surprising or unexpected use cases emerge from your customers?
Generally speaking, we have a pretty high rate of positive response in different type of application. The one I mentioned earlier, so the ready-to-drink protein shots, is an area that was pretty new for us. We were focusing in past and we our, let's call it classic portfolio, more to the savory part of the industry. But nowadays we are moving into the sweet and with very good feedbacks. Another area that is growing quite fast is the nutrition dedicated or friendly to GLP-1 users. So different companies are developing like small portion, high protein type of meals to fit with this trend and to fit with those changing requests by the consumers that are in weight management. So this kind of weight management is no longer niche; it's becoming like central part of the food innovation. And then Jevita Beyond fits very well.
Mhm. Every interview I do, I hear about GLP-1. Um,
Yeah.
if I'm a developer working on a clean label product with ambitious protein goals, where does High Pro Beyond give me the biggest edge compared to traditional options such as soy, whey, or pea?
So I think we should mention the fact that it's non-functional, so can be included in different type of simple or complex matrices. It can work very well with other protein sources as well. We had developed some alternative to chicken nuggets, and of course we use the traditional protein to create the network. So they wheat gluten and pea were used in this product, but to achieve, as an example, the high protein content claim in Europe, we went with Engevita High Pro Beyond. So this ability to fit it in different type of complex matrices, the possibility to include different sources, the fact that it's very neutral in taste, odor, and color, it's really the game changer, I would say.
Mhm. Of course, regulatory acceptance, that's always key. High Pro Beyond is already GRAS in the USA, I understand, and it's recognized already as a food ingredient in the EU. Are there any particular nuances or customer concerns you often have to navigate when bringing it into new markets?
We have a very well-trained and up-to-date regulatory team. So whenever customer have questions or need to have a specific insight for an area where we are developing, but we are not yet so established in terms of market presence, we can always get back to our supporting team. So we drive together with the customers into the nuances of the regulatory locally.
Mm. And what about the feedback, Luke? What kind of insights are you hearing from formulators who already worked with it? Have any of their experiences surprised you?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question because it was a little bit disturbed?
Okay. What about the feedback, loop? What kind of insights are you hearing from formulators who have already worked with the ingredient? Have any of their experiences surprised you?
I think what is surprising versus other type of ingredients that we have launched on the market is the speed of introduction. So from lab trials to scaling up to industrial production, this is going very quick,
Well,
which is a
Sylvia,
very good sign.
definitely. Yeah. Well, look, it's been a great conversation. To close us out, looking ahead, what excites you most about the role yeast proteins will play in shaping the future of food innovation?
Um, I think for us is interesting and exciting to enter, like to make a bigger step as LALLEMAND bio ingredient savory into the nutrition. Like a lot of our ingredients play in the flavor area. Now we are taking a big step into nutrition.
Mhm.
And the fact that it's a sustainable source of protein for us, it's really where we aim to go, to have a sustainable portfolio, to have a sustainable growth together with our partner in the food industry.
And finally, if you could leave product developers with one key takeaway about High Pro Beyond, what would it be?
So just try it because you will be amazed by how easily it can be included in your formulation when you're looking for a protein source that would bring you to the next level. Let's say rich in protein, high in protein. If this is what you're looking for, this is the ingredient to taste.
Well, can't wait to taste it myself. Sylvia, thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Take care.